Tonight, stuck in a hospital corridor, an 88-year-old grandmother's Midland hospital ordeal. Fuel stocks released to lower prices and stop panic buying. A crisis officially declared. But there's a good sign off the Perth coast. A tanker engaged roads full of fuel. And from the Treasurer, WA the big winner in the latest GST carve-up. The accidental hero dog taking down a criminal in Mandurah, getting the pounce on police. And a veteran eagle on the outer ahead of West Coast's brutal season opener.
This is 9 News Perth with Michael Thomson.
Good evening. Family of a Perth grandmother have told of her horrendous ordeal stuck in the corridor of Midland Hospital for days, finally leaving without a diagnosis. Today, Premier Roger Cook saying while the overflow treatment isn't ideal, it is normal.
88-year-old Elsie Gribben stuck in Midland Hospital's hallway.
She wasn't showered for 2 days. They gave her baby wipes to clean herself in a public thoroughfare corridor with no privacy. She said it was freezing cold. The lights were on all night because they were going through with trolleys.
The grandmother given drugs to fight her leg pain, but no diagnosis.
Well, the way that they do get treated is pretty disgusting anyway. And, you know, they're our elderly and they deserve the right to be respected and have the best to them.
Midland Hospital telling 9 News it apologises for the wait times and the patient's experience.
Obviously, hospital or corridor care, as it's called, is not ideal, but it is a normal part of the practice to make sure that we can flex up and flex down to ensure people get the care they need.
A leaked email from a Sir Charles Gardner Hospital medical director revealing there is a clear commitment to close 2 operating theatres, essentially permanently, from April 7th. The entire executive remained deeply disappointed. The health department says the hospital is under maintenance and will manage elective surgeries within existing capacity.
Elective surgery patients will essentially be paying the price for a system that is already at capacity.
Winter is now just months away. The state government still confident in its strategy to ensure the health system is prepared for the inevitable surge in patients. Bianca Carboni, 9 News.
It's a sight that will bring some relief to Perth motorists and WA farmers. A giant tanker off the coast bringing fuel to Perth. Rachel Clifford, its arrival as diesel hits an average $2.66 at the Bowser tomorrow.
Well, Michael, we have seen an increase in that diesel price. It's skyrocketed. It's an increase of almost $1 per litre in the past 3 weeks. These pictures from our news helicopter today, it shows a tanker named Stresser. It's just off the Fremantle port here and it's arrived from China. It's on board, has more than 100 million litres of oil that's destined for WA and it's hoped to replenish our fuel stocks. We know some stations in the state have completely run out of fuel while others have hiked the price up to more than $3. We've also seen people selling fuel in jerry cans on Marketplace as the government calls for calm.
I would urge people not to panic buy. I think that has caused some challenges with regard to logistics, getting fuel from Perth into regional areas.
Here in Albany, for example, the petrol station behind me, he's told me that unleaded 95, he's probably got about a day's worth of supplies left, and it's a similar story with diesel.
The price, or the average price of diesel is $2.66, while the price of unleaded is $2.68 tomorrow. Michael.
Rachel, thank you. WA is the big winner in the latest GST carve-up, set to receive a $9.3 billion boost in the coming financial year. The deal causing angst with other states, especially Queensland and New South Wales, claiming they've been shortchanged. WA Treasurer Rita Saffioti today with little remorse over the deal WA has struck.
Even with this deal, Western Australians are still subsidising the other states by over $2 billion. So this is a fair deal, as I said, that's good for WA but good for the nation.
And the federal government is tapping into Australia's emergency fuel stockpile today to combat soaring prices and panic buying, particularly in regional areas.
Chris Bowen is a man under the pump. The Energy Minister says there's no reason for panic buying, but admits there's a crisis.
Which is it? There's a war. I think war ticks the boxes of a crisis.
Until yesterday, it was all tickety-boo, no problems. By yesterday, it was a national crisis. I mean, the bloke's, he's hopeless.
Chris Bowen's latest move to release 20% of the nation's fuel stockpile. That's 760 million litres, or about 5.5 days of fuel consumption.
This will enable the fuel companies to more flexibly manage their supply chain.
Why can't Chris Bowen say to people in regional and rural Australia when the fuel will arrive?
The competition watchdog today demanding a please explain from suppliers on widely varying petrol prices across major cities. Supplies are filtering through to some country towns and proposals for petrol rationing is being rejected for now, but the minister has warned against hoarding.
There are other people filling up jerry cans, Bunnings running out of jerry cans, selling fuel at inflated prices. That is un-Australian.
For such an energy-rich nation like Australia, it seems remarkable we're so reliant on imports. But it's not the only disparity when it comes to our resources. The latest carve-up of the GST showing the mounting cost of a political sweetheart deal with WA, Australia's richest energy state. The no worse off clause allowing WA to pocket more than $9 billion of the $103 billion pool. That's $6.6 billion more than it would otherwise receive, while New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland have copped the biggest cuts to their share. All up, WA's collected $33 billion from the other states since 2018.
The pie is growing larger and yet Queensland's share of it is getting smaller.
When you see differences between the states, it's just harder and harder for me to justify what they're doing.
Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
A river of sewage flowing down a Palmyra street has left residents disgusted today after workers damaged a waste water pipe. The smell so bad some locals are being forced to spend the night in a hotel.
It might look like a gentle stream, but that's not water. Aurelian Street in Palmyra sloshed with sewage, and you can imagine what it smells like.
There was a river of sewage coming down my street, which was quite confronting and very smelly. It was up halfway up my tyres on my car.
It happened about 9 this morning. Residents saying they came home to this. Carports flooded, front lawns washed out. A burst wastewater pipe to blame. The street blocked off as crews worked into the afternoon to contain the mess. For some residents, the clean-up was worse than the smell.
It was probably a lot worse than what he'd let on. So, yeah, it's just kind of come the whole way down the street and then all through our front yard, all through our carport. It just hangs around. I feel like it's just on you.
Neighbours say some residents evacuated completely, packing up what they could, forced to spend the night in a hotel because the damage and the smell is so bad. The Water Corporation apologising for the inconvenience. Amanda Sabatino, 9 News.
To breaking news now, a Perth man accused of murder will be extradited to South Australia after police found a 24-year-old man's body in Adelaide on Wednesday morning. Detectives say Caleb Leriano had been lured to a park and attacked. His body then found in his crashed car. 22-year-old Alan Kiplimo from Brabham remains in police custody tonight. He'll fly with detectives to Adelaide tomorrow. Father accused of indecently dealing with a 12-year-old girl at a public swimming pool has faced court. Ahmed Abdullah is accused of biting the child who he met while swimming with his own children.
Head down, hiding from the cameras, Ahmad Sahib Abdullah is accused of committing a heinous crime.
Is there anything you'd like to say about what happened?
Police say on Sunday the 8th of February, the 29-year-old was at Bayswater Waves with his family. It's there, prosecutors say, while with his own young daughter, he struck up a conversation with a 12-year-old girl with autism. He then allegedly asked her to go into a unisex family bathroom outside. The victim was scared and agreed, and once inside, he asked her to move her bikini aside, leant down, then bit the victim before allegedly indecently dealing with her. She then told him to stop and ran away.
What happened with that little girl?
The father of one from Afghanistan tells a different story. Lawyers for the truck driver say he claims the young girl scratched his daughter. He has gone to speak to her and the young lady was rude. He then went to use the outside bathroom. The young girl has come out and she was startled to see him there. He says that was the extent of it. The 29-year-old granted bail at his first court appearance with conditions. He can't go back to the community pool and he has had to hand in his passport.
Ahmad Abdullah today indicated
stated he plans to plead not guilty to a charge of indecent dealings with a child under 13. The 29-year-old will remain on bail until his next court appearance in July.
Yvonne Ardley, 9 News.
Police won't charge the wife of Victorian fugitive Desi Freeman following a 7-month investigation into her actions after Freeman allegedly shot and killed 2 officers in Porpunka. There's insufficient evidence to support a prosecution of Amalia Freeman with indictable obstruction of police. Police also ruling out charging a 56-year-old man with the same offence. A candle thrown in a bin has sparked the blaze that gutted a Manning property. 2 brothers home at the time running for their lives as neighbours rushed to help.
Thick smoke puffing into the air as fire crews tackle the flames from all angles.
A 2-storey building, fire well established in the ground floor, spreading into the top floor.
2 brothers were inside their Manning Road home when the garage lit up around 6 last night.
I didn't have any time to really react, so I instantly just went inside, grabbed a vase, just filled it up with water, chucked it onto the fire.
The 17 and 20-year-olds fleeing, taking little with them.
Everyone says like, oh, what are you grabbing when a house is burning down? But I just realised like there's no time. I had to get myself out and my brother out, and then that's it.
The family of 4 have only lived at the new build for a year. Its timber structure hindering firefighting efforts. It took 6 hours to extinguish. The Department of Fire and Emergency Services says it was a candle pushed into the bin but not fully extinguished, which started the fire. The cause ruled as accidental. The Manning family insured, but the timing of the blaze unfortunate. The youngest brother's school ball tonight.
My family are out buying a suit for his Year 12 ball today, and like he doesn't have any shoes, he doesn't have anything.
Rachel Clifford, 9 News.
A statement from Iran's new supreme leader has done little to allay speculation over his condition. Reportedly injured in strikes, the new Ayatollah declaring the country will not back down, vowing to keep a tight grip on the Strait of Hormuz.
5 days after his appointment, Iran's new supreme leader has still not been seen. Today, only a statement from Mushtaba Khamenei fueling speculation on his health after reports he's injured. In a lengthy speech delivered by a newsreader on state TV, the Ayatollah vowed to continue blocking the Strait of Hormuz and avenge the blood of Iranians killed in the war. The Israeli Prime Minister in person. Mushtaba Khamenei cannot show his face in public, he says. What will become of his fate? If I were an insurance agent, I wouldn't issue life policies. Benjamin Netanyahu urging Iranians to seize freedom. In the end, it depends on you. It is in your hands. Street after street in Tehran torn apart. Where are we supposed to go? This woman says. We have nowhere.
Now, up to 3.2 million Iranians are displaced in the country.
In Lebanon too, the homeless in the hundreds of thousands. My heart is dead, this man says. I'm not like before. But the battle is only ramping up, the IDF releasing this footage of its ground invasion into southern Lebanon. An American refuelling aircraft crashing too, with at least 5 on board. A search for survivors underway. The US says it was not taken down by enemy fire, but the Islamic resistance in Iraq has claimed responsibility. After joint attacks from Hezbollah and Iran on central Israel, this is just some of the destruction. You can see from the extent of the damage how lucky it is that no one was injured or killed in this direct rocket hit from Hezbollah. An 86-year-old woman lives here and that is her bedroom. She had told her carer she was sick of going to the shelter, but her carer forced her, and it was that decision that saved her life.
We didn't even have enough time to get to the safe room, and I'm really happy my grandma slept in the safe room.
For the entire region, more sleepless nights ahead. In Israel, Mimi Becker, 9 News.
2 separate attacks in the US are being investigated for links to the conflict in the Middle East. One at a synagogue in Michigan where more than 100 children were attending preschool.
The closest of calls and a major police response after a gunman rammed his truck, reportedly packed with explosives, into one of America's largest synagogues in Detroit, Michigan.
It's absolutely incredible that things like this happen.
Inside, 140 students at the Israel Temple's childcare centre.
There are no words. I was in complete and utter shock.
But the children were saved by security guards who opened fire. One guard was hit by the vehicle and hurt, but all other staff and students were unharmed. Just 2 months ago, they underwent active shooter training from the FBI. The suspect, Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, a naturalised US citizen originally from Lebanon. Police had been preparing for this kind of attack in light of America and Israel's war in Iran. Like Australia, security has been boosted at places of worship across the United States, from Michigan to here in Los Angeles. As we saw today, so often it's the guards that are the first line of defence in these tense times. But it was military cadets who took down a gunman after a separate shooting at a university campus in Norfolk, Virginia today.
They basically were able to terminate the threat.
So he was not shot?
He was not shot.
A teacher was killed and 2 other US Army personnel were injured. The gunman, who had a former terror conviction, had shouted Allah Akbar before opening fire. In the United States, Reed Butler, 9 News.
Police are on the hunt for the owner of a black Labrador that helped take down an armed offender on the run in Mandurah. The accidental hero joining officers on a foot chase, catching the crook off guard.
A citizen's arrest with perfect precision. Officers from Mandurah Police Station in the middle of a foot chase. The offender, carrying a knife, running through the car park of a fast food restaurant near Pinjarra Road. That's when a loose pup springs into action. Leading the chase, he catches up to the suspect, who surrenders.
Oh, good chase, man. That was fun. Yeah, the dog's always a good idea. The dog? It's an unfair sport, man.
Wait, the dog? What dog?
The pursuit caught on police body cam, including the moment the errant dog's owner arrives.
Oh, is that the Hungry Jack? Oh, he's right there.
Almost a year has passed and police are now putting the call out, hoping to track down our accidental hero and its owner to show their appreciation. The call out made on a WA police podcast.
Do we know who this dog belongs to? Do we know anything about this hero dog?
Unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't know anything about this dog or who it belongs to.
The dog described as a black Labrador and an all-round good pup. Sinead Maripodi, 9 News.
He thought he was invisible. Next, the prosecutor's closing statements in ex-AFL legend Barry Cable's child abuse trial. Also ahead, the former rapper set to become a world leader. Father-daughter date dictator style. Plus, from pulling pints to brewing beer, the future Queen spends the day stirring the pot. Byron Bay, New South Wales northeast is being hit hard by heavy rain and flash flooding. Residents and tourists grabbing what they could after copping more than 75 millimetres of rain in just 1 hour. The SES responding to dozens of calls for help, and there are forecasts tonight of more wild weather to come. Judge is expected to rule on Barry Cable's historic child abuse allegations next month. The disgraced footballer maintaining it never happened. Here's court reporter Ezra Holt.
Barry Cable had footballing fame and glory before an almighty fall from grace.
There's Barry Cable.
Today, a prosecutor said the former footballer thought he was invincible and wasn't worried if his alleged victim revealed his dark past, because he knew no one would believe her if she did. Closing statements in court today, the judge will rule on Cable's 7 abuse charges in mid-April. Mr. Cable, how are you feeling at the end of the trial? Are you confident about the outcome on April 17? The state says the now 82-year-old brought an orphan girl to his Gosnells home 60 years ago, repeatedly abusing her over weeks. But his defence says allegations aren't true, arguing the girl never stayed over with the Cables, claiming official documents shown in court don't prove that she left the orphanage, labelling the state's case as an unfillable void. The alleged victim, now aged in her 60s, was a key witness in the case, detailing detailing how when she initially arrived at the Cable's home, she was treated well before the abuse started, usually occurring at night while Barry Cable's wife was asleep. It's now over to a judge to weigh up her evidence. You're grateful to have your family's support here at court. Ezra Holt, 9 News.
A jury could be called to decide whether former Carlton boss Luke Sayers tainted his wife's reputation over his lured photo scandal. Kate Sayers has asked for a trial by jury, claiming her husband told the AFL she was to blame for an intimate snap posted to his ex account last year. And her denials couldn't be trusted because she suffered from mental illness. Luke Sayers has denied any responsibility for the picture. A week-long trial has been scheduled for November. When it comes to career changes, it doesn't get much bigger than this. Former rapper Balendra Shah is poised to become Nepal's Prime Minister after his party secured a landslide win. He rose to prominence during widespread youth-led protests in September, with one of his songs gaining 10 million views during the unrest. His only political experience so far has been as the mayor of the capital, Kathmandu. And North Korea's leader is showing off his firepower, with state media releasing images of Kim Jong-un shooting a gun with his 13-year-old daughter. Kim Jong-un visiting a factory that claims to be manufacturing a new type of pistol, which the leader said was excellent. The images have only added to speculation that Kim Jong-il is being groomed for future leadership. A royal surprise for tourists and locals at some of London's busiest spots. The Prince and Princess of Wales spent the day mixing with the public, pouring beers and making coffees.
A brew fit for a king and queen.
So a big scooch to start and then more gently down the side.
Or a prince and princess who aren't afraid to lend a hand. And learn the craft of local artisans.
We'll carry on talking down here while you keep going on.
Don't worry, I'll do super hard.
But Catherine made it look easy.
No, and actually since my diagnosis it's been drinking alcohol, it's not really something I do. No, it's not. You like your cider?
I'm sorry.
The hands that bear the priceless sapphire and diamond ring once worn by Princess Diana were today learning the skills of a trained barista. Then it was time for a little something sweet at Borough Market. And finally, down the River Thames in life jackets with the Royal National Lifeboat Cruise, supporting a local charity that keeps British waterways safe.
A good marker of their success this year might not be any one grand gesture, but simply turning up time and again supporting local causes like this one.
There was one protester in the crowd.
William, have you been covering for Andrew?
Others were chuffed.
I love Carting Wheels. I think they're doing a fantastic job and they're going to be a great king and queen.
We see a lot of news about the Epstein files, obviously, and about Andrew. But I think, I think they've done their best.
We all love the royal family here.
In London, Josh Bavis, 9 News.
They've been in supermarkets for weeks, but the Easter countdown is officially on because today is National Hot Cross Bun Day. Well, that's according to Baker's Delight. And to mark the occasion, its stores were giving away 300 to the first 300 customers through every store today.
We love hot cross buns and we wanted to share the love, so we just made it up. Last year we thought, let's make it National Hot Cross Bun Day in the middle of March. It was the right time of year because Easter changes every year.
More than 150,000 free buns were served up across the country today. A visit to the dentist can be a nerve-wracking experience for some, but no such troubles for 11-year-old cheetah Sansa at Werribee Open Range Zoo in Victoria. She's recovering well from a root canal after breaking 2 of her front teeth, including one of her sharp canines.
What do I love about working with cheetahs? That they're really fast in the wild and they're really slow when they're anaesthetised.
Dr Clark removed the damaged nerve, saying the teeth so Sansa can return to eating comfortably. Still to come this hour of news, Qantas agrees to pay back customers $105 million refunded over cancelled COVID flights. The aged care giant charging residents $10,000 a year for scrambled eggs and free-to-air TV. A Married at First Sight expert's sad update on her cancer battle. And our troops take on the world's best for the title of Top Gun in high-speed drones. Qantas will pay out $105 million to settle COVID flight credits. Passengers launched a class action after they were denied cash refunds for cancellations. Eligible travellers will now be able to claim compensation on top of any refunds. Hot meals off the menu and TVs taken out of bedrooms. Aged care provider Opal Healthcare is tonight being accused of a two-tier system for vulnerable Australians. The minister has expressed disgust and ordered the industry watchdog to investigate. Conor McGovern has this report.
Opal Healthcare casts itself as the provider of premium care.
Wonderful, having them omelettes ready every night and every day.
But residents like Anne now face paying premium prices for those eggs and a hot brekkie.
You make me feel as though the trouble's nothing. I can't put a value high enough on it.
But Opal will, charging $28 a day under a new two-tiered standard of care.
Look, we think it's disgusting. They're definitely creating a two-class system.
Leaked documents revealing residents will be split between those who can afford a high level of care and those who can't.
They don't need to be considered cash cows so the providers can get rich.
From now on, if you want a cooked breakfast instead of cereal, they'll need to pay. Homemade cakes over Arnott's, you pay. Ice cream for dessert, pay again. Even free-to-air TV, no longer free. You pay for the TV set or it's removed from bedrooms.
Removing that just creates isolation of our elderly residents.
It's really important that people can watch and see what's going on.
The aged care giant runs around 130 homes, at least a dozen trialling the new two-tier menu. Opal Healthcare claims it's only implementing federal government policy. It insists that having a television in your bedroom or a hot breakfast are so-called lifestyle options.
Every reasonable person can see that having a telly and access to a telly is a basic human right.
Opal now under investigation.
The alleged behaviour reported today is absolutely disgusting, and that's why I've asked the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission to investigate immediately.
Conor McGovern, 9 News.
Having battled cancer for close to 3 years, Married at First Sight expert Mel Schilling has today revealed the disease is now terminal. The 54-year-old overcame colon cancer in 2023, but it returned a few months later and has now spread to her brain. In an emotional Instagram post, Mel wrote, "My light is starting to fade and quickly, but I'm still here, still fighting and surrounded by the most incredible love." Iran has spent decades building underground bunkers to house its large and varied missile arsenal, but their retaliatory strikes have slowed considerably, and it appears their weapons strategy could be their biggest blunder. Alison Petrowski explains.
Welcome to Missile City, Iran's vast underground network of bunkers used to house and shield their arsenal from destruction. The bunkers took decades to build, but their construction appears to be a fatal mistake for the regime. US and Israeli warplanes and armed drones have been surveilling the entrances to these bases, striking missile launchers when they emerge to fire. And waves of bombers have dropped munitions on the site's entrances, in many cases trapping the arsenal below ground, entombing them, making them inaccessible. And this tactic appears to be working. These satellite images show the Tabriz missile site in Iran's northwest, where the entrance tunnels appear to have collapsed after being struck repeatedly. And the US Central Command says there has been a dramatic reduction in return fire from Iran since the initial days of war.
Athletes have complained of tropical conditions at this year's Winter Paralympic Games, with warm weather causing issues, soft and slushy snow hindering speed and control, which experts say is particularly essential for para-athletes. The International Olympic Committee is considering holding the competition earlier and rotating the Games amongst a permanent pool of suitable locations. It's a sport you may not have heard of, but it's gaining popularity here in Australia. It's called disc golf, and a brand new course has just been built in Sydney.
In the game of golf, you swing, but in this sport, you fling.
And that's how it's done.
This is disc golf, where the aim is to get a hole-in-one, but using a frisbee and 18 baskets.
So this will be a par 3, so you're expected to get it in 3 shots.
It can also get pretty technical.
We have putters, mid-rangers and drivers. A putter is quite blunt on the nose, so it's not going to travel as far through the air, and it's used for more approaching and accurate shots, whereas a driver is more aerodynamic.
Is it as frustrating as golf?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, even more so maybe, because you just assume it's that much easier.
But it's not.
It's not, no.
The sport taking off in America in recent years.
Macbeth for a birdie. What a putt!
And now gaining momentum here, with Sydney's 5th course opening at Wayland Reserve in the Blacktown area.
This is the first one out here, and this is an opportunity for us to be able to do something a little different.
We are seeing an increase in younger membership.
Could this be the new pickleball?
I think so. We're in talks with quite a few other councils, so we're hopeful we're going to get a few more courses in over the next year or two.
For those wanting to give the course a spin, it is free and apparently harder than it looks. But after a few frisbee flops, success. Elizabeth Bryan, 9 News.
Some of the world's fastest military drones will tear through the skies over Randwick Barracks in New South Wales this weekend. Teams from Australia, the UK and US and the Indo-Pacific are going head-to-head for the annual tournament, which will last 3 days. Pilots will guide the flying robots through a high-speed course using military skill and cutting-edge technology. Brain training, that is ahead after sport. Experts explain how simply crossing the road could help your brain fight dementia. And Australia's best retailers ranked. But first, Paddy Sweeney's here with Sport, and Paddy, Geelong are wary of Fremantle.
That they are, Tomo. The Cats coach does concede the Dockers pose a tall order as Fremantle jump at the chance to rewrite the wrongs of last year. The Eagles' young guns head for the Gold Coast as a veteran is overlooked, and wounded Wildcat Dylan dealt a significant blow ahead of their must-win semi. Geelong coach Chris Scott has put his defenders on notice ahead of tomorrow's round 1 clash with the Dockers. Fremantle hoping their potent 3-pronged tall attack can begin their season in winning fashion.
The Dockers' tall trio, Tracy, Amos and Voss. The Cats preparing for Fremantle's forward threat.
It certainly does ask the question of the opposition. If you haven't got 3 really capable tall defenders, you might get stretched a little bit. We're not overconfident, but we feel like we do have the players to play those positions.
The Dockers holding their captain's run at the same venue they copped a 78-point belting at to begin last year.
With the exception of the time of year, the venue and the opposition, I'm not sure it's that relevant.
The Cats debuting 206-centimetre athletic ruck Mitch Edwards, a familiar face for Fremantle after being a member of their NGA academy.
He's ready to play and ready to perform. That's the esteem in which we hold him.
The Eagles departing for their Gold Coast season opener. Veteran Tim Kelly flying tomorrow, but won't play, travelling as the emergency. Among the team, 4 fresh faces, the first time that's happened in 36 years, when Norm Smith medalists and premiership heroes Peter Matera and Dean Kemp debuted.
People will look at the youth of their side, but they're very good young players. There's a reason they got picked high in the draft. They can play the game, so we understand there's a challenge there and we've got to make sure we're up for it.
Young forward Jed Walter not selected after serving his suspension. Recruit Jamar Ugle-Hagan denied his first game as a Sun after 6 goals in the reserves last weekend.
When we put him out there, we want to make sure that he's ready to go and prepared to put his best foot forward.
Sean Lindsay, 9 News.
Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge has called on his skipper Marcus Bontempelli to ditch his newfound friendship with Giants captain Toby Green. The duo burying the hatchet at State of Origin, but that truce won't last long, going head-to-head tomorrow. Luke Beveridge isn't shying away from the hatred between the Dogs and Giants. In fact, he's embracing it. The coach urging his captain Marcus Bontempelli to lean into the rivalry created over the past decade and ruffle a few feathers, particularly those of opposing skipper Toby Green.
They're now coffee mates, you know, they played for Victoria together and they buy each other coffees, and it's like, you know, come on. So it's good to see them be mates for a period of time over in Western Australia. They'll probably both forget about it tomorrow and their teammates will feed off that. Ross Lyon unfazed. His star Nazai Wanganeen-Miller could again draw a tag after being well held in their opening round loss to the Magpies.
He's a young player and he'll get a lot of attention. We can support him better. We can give him the ball better. He can, you know, he'll learn his tricks, how to do it. High-level players go through that. It's just part of the process. It's unavoidable.
Tom Lynch left kicking himself, booting 2 goals 7 in the 4-point loss to Carlton. The Blues holding on after a second-half fade-out, managing 1 goal after half-time.
Well, we're hanging on. We were hanging on, and probably doing it for most of the second half, to be fair.
Young Tiger Jonty Fall offered a 1-match ban for striking Jacob Wiedering. And the AFL will take no further action, despite allegations former Hawthorn vice-captain Dylan Moore was in possession of a crystalline substance when he was arrested while on an off-season trip in the US. Alana Kennedy has given the Matildas the early advantage in their Asian Cup quarter-final against North Korea. The goal-scoring superstar handing the host nation the lead with her 5th goal of the tournament.
Cut back the thought to Van Egmond, still alive for Kennedy! Oh my word! Alana Kennedy!
And victory over the 9th-ranked North Koreans would book Australia's spot in the Final Four. A huge blow for the Perth Wildcats. Import Dylan Windler ruled out of tomorrow's must-win semi-final against Sydney. The American was in a moon boot and on crutches at training today, having re-injured his foot in the Game 1 loss to the Kings.
People recognise when he's not out there on the floor for us, and from both ends, with his three-point range, his ability to live in the paint, make some good decisions, but then defensively in his rebounding. So he makes a lot of things tick for us.
Perth need to beat Sydney to keep their season alive. The Western Force have coughed up a half-time lead, going down to the Hurricanes 31-23 in the last of their 3-game road trip. The Force leading 11-5 just after the main break, before the hosts ran in 4 consecutive tries.
Got the bounce, and Warnertons! Boy, that's a popular try.
The Force sit equal bottom on the Super Rugby ladder, returning home now for a bye. And WA's Talia Gibson has moved inside the top 70 in the world despite losing her Indian Wells quarter-final. The 21-year-old taking it up to 14th seed Linda Noskova.
Is the incredible dream going to continue for Talia Gibson? She's a set away from the semi-finals.
But unfortunately, she couldn't continue the momentum. Gibson overrun, losing the deciding set 6-2. Her current ranking of 67 is a career best. So a great run there comes to an end. And Tomo, finally,
yes,
Dockers and Eagles back in action for 2026.
And we have to get your selections, Paddy.
I think Geelong in a tight one tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm going to stick with everyone in the world who's going to tip Gold Coast over the Eagles.
Going to be tough for the Eagles, I think.
It will be, I think.
Paddy, thank you. Australia's biggest retail brands ranked. See which one came out on top. That's next. And train your brain why your postcode can define how long you live. Banks have been scrambling to raise mortgage rates ahead of Tuesday's Reserve Bank meeting, and for borrowers that means a crucial window may be closing. Here's Chris Collar with tonight's finance report.
Economists and the market are now mostly tipping another rate rise next week from the RBA. So naturally, borrowers are wondering if they should fix their home loan rate or get ahead of it. The problem is, banks are quick on this stuff. The gap between the average 2-year fixed rate and the average variable rate has already widened because 26 banks have hiked their fixed rates in just the last fortnight. It's still happening. ANZ, in fact, did it today. As it stands, CanStar research shows these are the lowest 2-year fixed rates. Not a big bank in sight. Elsewhere, it's been a wild week on the share market, but in the end, it finished pretty much even. Banks were higher today and BHP fell once again. Finally, the Australian dollar remains strong as we head into the weekend, but it was slightly lower this afternoon.
Thank you, Chris. Let's take a look at the price of unleaded petrol across Perth tomorrow, and the average will increase by 3 cents a litre to $2.88.6. But you can find it cheaper on Wanneroo Road in Wanneroo, on Albany Highway in Beckenham and on Great Eastern Highway in Mundaring. Diesel will remain steady at $2.66.2 a litre. And making news headlines this Friday, family of a Perth grandmother have told of her horrendous ordeal stuck in the corridor of Midland Hospital for days. We've seen a giant tanker off our coast today bringing fuel to Perth. And a river of sewage flowing down a Palmyra street has left residents disgusted after workers damaged a wastewater pipe. Kmart has been named Australia's #1 retailer this year, bumping Big W off the top spot. Industry analysts Power Retail praised the department store for their strong returns policy. Myer and Bunnings came in second and third respectively. Diet and exercise aren't the only ways to protect your brain. A new study suggests where we live also makes a difference. Brain imaging data from hundreds of Australian residents over the age of 70 shows living in highly connected neighbourhoods can deliver a boost.
Keeping our heart healthy is known to be good for the brain, but our environment can also play a role.
We know that the neighbourhood can affect brain health where you live, and there are many aspects of the neighbourhood that are important.
To understand how postcodes can affect brain health, researchers looked at the neighbourhoods of 500 residents over the age of 70 in Sydney's east. The more street intersections within a kilometre of their home, the better connectivity that can challenge the brain.
You want a neighbourhood that is well connected, has both residential and commercial areas, so people can walk for shopping, for example.
Researchers from the Australian Catholic University and UNSW measured their brain scans and found those living in highly connected areas had larger hippocampus tails, the area vulnerable to shrinking in Alzheimer's disease. The inference being crossing intersections and using complex navigational skills, a brain booster.
Many years ago, it was shown actually that London taxi drivers had larger hippocampi.
The research highlights the importance of better urban planning to support brain health, but our growing reliance on technology for directions and for solving complex problems has experts concerned about the impacts on our brains.
AI abilities is much faster, so that is a big concern for the future. We probably have to start thinking about strategies to deal with that challenge.
Gabriella Rogers, 9 News.
Abalone season is over early this year, but there's been plenty of great catches right across the state this week. Here's Carl Langdon with Fish Watch.
Sadly, the last abalone fishing day for the summer and autumn has been cancelled. It was due tomorrow between 7 and 8 a.m, so you're going to have to wait until next summer. Another great week of catches with young Koa and Finn posing with their giant trevally. Caleb Forscott hit the southwest rock ledges and bagged out on blue groper like this. Grady Rumble sent us this pic of his Red Emperor 2.9 on Facebook, taken in Onslow. Jack Howard scored this 78cm pink snapper during a night fish off the beach. West Coast Eagle Ryan Marrick is exploring WA. This pic was taken of his little black brim in Bunbury. Marlon Borg ventured out to the Mackerel Islands off Onslow with giant trevally hitting lures. And lastly, in a South Coast estuary, Scott Coughlin and the Western Angler team had amazing results. Pink snapper, thumping silver brim, garfish, King George whiting and black brim, all part of the action. Some good weather forecast over the next week, and if you do head to your favourite destination and have any luck catching a fish, send us a picture and video to 9 on Facebook, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Carl. Your weather forecast is next, and we're set for a glorious weekend. Welcome back. Well, it was a beautiful autumn day across Perth today after an overnight low of 17.7. The mercury climbed to 26.7 just before 4 o'clock this afternoon. Right now in the city, it's hovering around 22.8 degrees. Let's have a look at the charts and a strong ridge across central and southern WA. We'll stick around into next week while a west coast trough will begin to develop from Sunday. Now, that will bring with it some high temperatures and they will climb even here in Perth. Taking a look at the capitals first though, cloudy in Sydney tomorrow, 25. Melbourne is heading for 24 with a mostly sunny day. 27 degrees in Brisbane, sunny, and 25 in Canberra. Back home, now the forecast for Perth tomorrow is looking just about perfect. 30 degrees is the top. It will then heat up from there, 32 on Sunday with clear skies. Same on Monday, 34 degrees for Tuesday. Wednesday will be our hottest day at 36 degrees, then 32 and then 31. Now, some of those nighttime temperatures are quite high, 22 on Wednesday, so that will be quite warm. And that is the news here at 9 for Friday, March 13. Thanks for your company. Current Affairs next. Enjoy your night, enjoy your weekend, right here on 9.